Hello. Hi. There you are. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever it is, wherever you are, welcome to my kitchen once again. We're back on Saturdays. So I'm here every Saturday midday doing this live cook along. So for any of you who have not tuned in before, a cook along is an opportunity for you guys to literally cook along with me in your own kitchen. So we release details of the ingredients and the equipment in the preceding week, so you guys can get everything you need and you can cook with me. Now, of course, the shows are saved on our timeline as well, so you can just watch the show, see if it's something that you want to make, and then you can watch it on playback. And that does mean that you can skip the bits where I babble on, which happens, or go back to something you missed, basically, which is very, very useful. Okay, so Colleen is here quick off the bat. She says that she is gathering her ingredients. Fantastic. Annie is here. Annie says, hi Chef Day, looking forward to seeing this recipe. Me too, it's a good one. Christine says it's going to be tonight's meal, curry night, yay. Exactly, it's definitely going to be curry night here too. Colleen says that she's in the middle of a blizzard. Oh, keep warm. And Annie said that it's going to be curry night for her too. Brilliant. Okay, so I know that some of you guys missed having a rainbow on the show. So we have our very own rainbow on the show, which is Little Bo. So as a lot of you guys know, Bo, we adopted from Miracle's Mission. She is one of their disabled dogs. She is an absolute sweetheart. She has the biggest personality I have ever encountered in any being in the entirety of my life. And of course she has those very distinctive, lovely ears. So each week I will be keeping you guys up to date with how she is doing and sharing a photo of her or video. As you can imagine, I have lots. I really do have lots. So she's very, very photogenic. Okay, so Colleen says that's the best rainbow ever. Oh, thank you. So we did actually get some tail wags out of her recently. So for anybody who doesn't know, Bo is actually disabled and she can't move her back legs or her tail, but we've been doing physio with her since she's got here, and we got some tail wags, so we must be doing something right. Okay, on to the recipe. Please make sure that your oven is hot. We need it to be around 200 to 220 degrees Celsius, so pretty high. And we are going to bake the cauliflower rather than just put it in the sauce, and that's just because, well, it kind of speeds things up really. And we're not using excess oil either. We will use a bit of oil, but you don't use as much as you would, you know, if you wanted to like fry it in a pan or anything like that. Because cauliflower actually has quite a lot of water content to it. So when we bake it, it kind of steams itself as well. So it will steam on the inside and then we'll get some lovely like caramelization on the outside. So let's get going with that. I've got around 600 grams of cauliflower in here. I wanted to give you guys the gram measurement because cauliflowers come in all sizes. Sometimes they can be tiny, sometimes they can be as big as your head. So it's about 600 grams, but really like give or take, like it doesn't need to be exactly 600 grams for a recipe like this. If it's a baking recipe, yes, I want you to be precise, and there will be some other recipes, but I would tell you with a recipe like this, it can be ballpark 600 grams. And this will make enough for 2 very hungry people, which me and Jeff are. But it would make, you know, 4 portions if you're going to have other side dishes as well. You know, if you're going to have, you know, a few different curries, which I thoroughly recommend you do, you know, have one like this that is, you know, creamy and not spicy, not hot spicy, and then have another one that is hot spicy, then this might even feed 6. Okay, so Colleen has a very big cauliflower. Okay, she says that hers is 100 grams. Colleen, yes, you will need to cut your cauliflower into florets this size. So ping pong ball size. I mean, I kind of say bite size, but that's such a kind of baggy term that I want to give you something a bit more precise. There you go, like this size. But again, they don't all have to be exactly the same because it's just not going to happen. You know, you cannot cut cauliflower florets or, you know, broccoli equally at all. Like they're all going to be like slightly different sizes, but try to get them like roughly the same size so that they all cook to the same time. So Colleen, I'll just natter on a bit and then you can get going with cutting your cauliflower. But just to say that this is the weight without the big stalk in the middle and without the leaves. So your 1 kilo cauliflower, Colleen, once you actually take that centre stalk out, which you can, you know, save and use for other things if you want to, and once you take the leaves off, it might be about 600 grams as well, but just roughly. Denise is here. Denise says greetings and good morning, Chef Day and fellow foodies. I'm really glad that you're here, Denise, because when you're not here I forget to do the taste test, so I'm glad you're here for this. Okay, right, I am going to be using the leaves as well. So just a word on using cauliflower leaves. The very outer leaves can be a bit too chewy, a bit too fibrous. So I discarded those and I kept the outer leaves. So these are, I think, one of the most beautiful things I've ever cooked with. And I know it seems like really like humble because it's cauliflower and cauliflowers are cheap, and you know, in the UK they're just like, oh, one of the like the boring veg. But actually, I think they're very, very beautiful. So these have just such a lovely shape, and when we bake them, this very, very delicate leaf here becomes almost like paper-like and a little bit brittle and crisp, which is very, very lovely. And then of course we've got this beautiful shape here too. So if any of my chef students are watching, elements like this are absolutely phenomenal for plating. They make plating so much easier because we've got these wonderful shapes to play with food photography as well. You know, if we've got shapes like this to play with, it just makes for a much better, a more handsome dish really. And then these central parts, these are, they have a lot of water content in them and they're very crunchy. They remind me of bok choy, which I really, really like because it's that kind of like freshness as well. And so in a dish like this, it just gives another element to the dish. But also, of course, we are minimising food waste, which is always a good thing, and we're getting a bit more for our money as well. I purposefully chose a cheap main ingredient for this dish because, you know, aubergine korma is really, really lovely, but aubergines can quite often in the UK anyway be quite expensive, whereas cauliflowers are really, really very cheap. Okay, so Denise says, I could only get you on my phone somehow, just not on the computer. I don't know if I'm the only one having this difficulty. Okay, so if anybody else is having a problem with that, please do let me know. I hope that that's you know, it's okay for everybody. I have it on my computer as well because that's the way that I can see all of your comments. Okay, right, so I'm just gonna add a dash of oil. So I'm using rapeseed oil today. I would also use sunflower oil. Any oil that is neutral, I will use. You could actually also use coconut oil. That would be lovely, and that would be in keeping with the dish. So if you've got that, then go for that. And I'm going to add between 1 and 2 tablespoons. Now I've put the cauliflower into a large bowl. This is very important. We need a bit of room for moving things around. So let me just add 1, 2. This is such a beautiful colour. If you've ever made mayonnaise, vegan mayonnaise, which is, by the way, incredibly easy to make, if you use rapeseed oil, because it has this lovely yellow colour, it looks like non-vegan homemade mayonnaise. I get that right, because it has that intense like sunshine yellow colour about it. Whereas if you use a sunflower oil, it will look like, you know, like the mayonnaise that you get out of a jar. Okay, so I'm just mixing this round to make sure that everything gets, all of the cauliflower get a bit of oil on them. I'm not doing this on the tray because it's just so much easier to do it in a bowl. There we go. And I'm using a nice big wide tray. So whenever we're roasting anything, or you know, cooking oven chips, you know, anything like that, we need to give whatever is in the pan enough space. If things are all bunched up together, then they probably won't take, will probably take too long to cook. And they might get a bit kind of like soggy rather than crispy, because we want that like really, really intense heat, and that intense heat is going to happen because of the oil and the baking tray and the space that we've given it. So don't use anything on the tray either. Like don't put down like any baking paper or anything like that, because we want the really intense heat that the baking tray is going to give us. So similarly, if I'm making something like sweet potato fries or roasted veggies, I do it straight on the pan. Okay, same with our cauliflower leaves. If you're using them, just a bit of oil and try and turn them. If they're a bit big, they can be a little bit difficult to turn, but eventually they'll concede. There we go. There we go, and we'll just pop those on there as well. And again, just make sure that they're not too bunched up. Okay. Oh, Colleen says that her cauliflower is 700 grams now. I'm going to leave it. Okay. Okay, so it just means that if you've got a bit more cauliflower than I have, then you have a bit more veg to sauce ratio, if that makes sense. And Christine said that she's okay with being able to watch on her computer, but there's a background noise. Could it be the oven? Yes, it might be, but it's very quiet. It's very quiet, but maybe it's like, you know, one of those frequencies that the computer's picking up. Right, so we're going to pop this into the oven. Now I've put it quite high up in the oven, not on the very, very top shelf, but second to top. And it isn't going to take much time at all. It's going to take around 10 to 15 minutes, something like that. So really, really quick. And by the way, this is like a quickie korma. You could make this a much longer dish, you know, and have it like bubbling away, and use things like cinnamon bark, cardamom pods, whole cloves, things like that, which are lovely in a korma. But I decided not to put them in this korma because this korma, I want it to be really, really super quick for you guys. Okay, so now on to making an onion paste. Let me just move this around here. There we go. Okay, so you either need a food processor or, like me, a chopper attachment of a hand blender. And a lot of you who've watched the show will know that I really, really, really love my hand blender and the chopper attachment that comes with it. Okay, so I can see that we have Paul in the house. Good, good, good. And Denise says, what can I substitute for peas? Courgettes. Yes, that's a possibility. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, you know, with a dish like this, you can use lots of different vegetables. So the peas are there to give it a freshness and also to add a bit of green as well. So courgettes would be good. Courgettes are good at sucking up sauce as well. So they are good in dishes like this. You could also use, I don't know if, because you don't like peas, if you're okay with things like French beans, then that's a possibility too. So we've just popped our onions into here. So around 2 onions, which is for me 300 grams. So ballpark again, if it's like 320 or 280, then that's fine. And around 4 garlic cloves, which is for me 25 grams, but that's because I use large garlic. But this is a choose your own adventure ingredient, because you guys might not like garlic very much. You may love garlic a lot. and want to add more and more and more, but I have put the grams in the recipe. Sorry. Pardon me. Right, ginger root. We've got 15 grams in here. I have definitely wanted to give you the grammage for this, because whenever people say like thumb sized, oh, it depends like how big your thumbs are, really. So, and this is an optional ingredient. I've got some bird's eye chili in here. It was actually quite a long chili, so I just put half the chili in there. But it's completely up to you as to like whether you want to put any chili in this recipe or not. You really don't have to. And I think that, you know, korma, and by the way, this is like a UK style korma and my take on it. With a korma, a lot of people like to have it because they don't really like spicy, like hot spicy food. So it can be like a good like entry level one. And then what you can do is you can, if you want to be able to eat more hot spicy food, then you can increase the amount of chili in it, and then that is a really, really good introduction to hotter, spicier dishes. Okay, so, oh, Christine has thought of a very good idea. Do you like edamame beans? That's a very good idea. Hello, Pascal. Hello. Okay, right. Now I'm going to add a little bit of oil to this, around 1 tablespoon. There we go. And then let's give this a blend. Right, there we go, super easy. This is a great way to add lots of flavour to a sauce. Really, really good method. So, I mean, you can use this method for lots of different recipes. If you want the sauce to be, you know, more flavoursome, and also you're using this paste as like a thickener as well. It's a great thing to do. Right, okay, so Paul has said that he had a slight problem today after Facebook just told me like hit one of their sharing limits. I mean, why do they have an issue with that? Really? I don't understand. Okay, right, let's get this hob on. That was definitely a noise there. Right, we are going to get it up to medium to high heat. We don't need to add any more oil because we put oil in with the onion and the garlic. There we go. We're just going to wait for this to heat up. Oh, and thank you for mentioning about how it's easy to share this Facebook Live, Paul. Thank you. So I keep my hand there until it feels like a hot summer day. Do you remember those? Everyone in the UK? Way back when. And actually I just realised I need to just grab my trusty spoon. So I always use this one for spice pastes, you know, onion, garlic paste, you know, that type of thing. Because first of all it's wooden, which is, you know, better for the pan. This pan's fine though because it's stainless steel. But anyway, it doesn't make, you know, horrible like scrapey, you know, metal against metal sound. But also it's almost straight here. So this is going to be really, really great because with the onion paste we're going to have to really scrape the bottom of the pan, making sure that it doesn't burn. Okay, Lou is here. Lou says hello, lovely day, and everyone. Hello, Lou. Nice to have you here. Okay, so we can just put this into our pan. And by the way, I have already taken the battery out of the smoke alarm. So we need to cook this until it's not raw anymore. But we really, really don't want to burn it. So you need to keep your eye on this. Okay, and I can see it's already like a little bit too hot. And I'm having to scrape down. Turn it down even further. So as it cooks, you will see that the colour will change. Actually, it's cooled down a bit now, so I'm going to bring you guys to the overhead camera just so that you can see a bit better. There we go. So here I'm just scraping the bottom if it catches before it can actually burn. So this is really something that you can't go away. You can't go and put your feet up and have a cup of tea. You can't go and answer the door. Sorry. But you have to just look after this. And you see that I'm patting it down, because when we do this, when we mix it around, what happens is that, it all kind of clumps up. So we want as much of this touching the surface of the pan as possible. There we go. So we do just have to keep playing around with it. Okay. So Pascal said the sound is good. Oh, other people I think someone is having sound problems. I wonder why. Oh, it's Paul. Paul, sorry, you're having sound problems with it today. What you could try to do is you could try to come out of the live and then come back into it. I don't know if that's going to help. That is basically like the Facebook Live equivalent of turning it off and turning it on again. There you go. You get the gist of that and what's going on. Oh, Colleen says overhead camera has an echo. Okay, I think I might know what that is. Let me just see if I can rectify that. Right, okay, let's try that once more. And we'll see if that's solved it. Okay, how is the echo now? Is the echo gone? Do let me know. There we go. So as you can see, this takes a bit of time. You just need to kind of bear with it. Oh, Colleen, if your frying pan is non-stick, then that's fine. That's fine. It'll be okay. Oh, Denise. Yeah, Denise said there's no echo now. Paul says there was a bit of an echo and the sound volume is a little bit lower. No echo. Oh, the echo's gone. Yeah, I actually fixed it. So I'm not that bad at technology as I thought I was. There we go. There we go. Okay, let me just see if I can turn the sound up as well. No, sound is all the way up, I'm afraid, my end. Okay, so you can see that this changes in colour. It happens gradually, which is exactly like what it should do, because we don't want any like dramatic like changes, because that basically means that you've burnt it. It will slowly go from white to beige to dark beige basically, but it does take a bit of time. And so I love this type of cooking where you can't rush it, you just need to let it do its thing. And whenever I'm doing this type of action, I'm just stirring it. It really gives me a chance to just think about this. I don't worry about all the other things that are going on in life and all the other anxieties and worries and stuff like that. All I think about is stirring the pot. There we go, and I just completely get lost in it. So, this is looking good. This is looking really good. I'm going to check the cauliflower and see how that is getting on. There we go. Okay, so, just going to bring you guys to the overhead camera again so that you can see this lovely cauliflower, and that is all cooked nicely. And this is about done. You see, like it's already, this is even getting more brown, so it's just about done. Just about done. There we go. Just turn the oven off just in case it is making a bit of an annoying hum. Okay, so now we can add our spices, and I've just kept it really, really simple, just with some ground spices, because we're not going to cook this out for very long at all. And the whole spices are things like, you know, cardamom and cloves and cinnamon sticks, which I love to add to a korma, take a lot longer. You know, you need to keep it cooking, the sauce cooking for a while to get the flavours out of them. And because this is our quickie korma, we just need the ground spices. Okay, so here we have one teaspoon ground cumin, 2 teaspoons ground coriander, 1 teaspoon garam masala, and 1 teaspoon turmeric. So I'm just going to give this a little mix, and I'm just going to let the spices heat just for 30 seconds to a minute, and that will help release some of the oils and just make your spices a bit punchier. And then we can add our coconut milk. So I am using full fat coconut milk because I want to have that like fatty richness. Because if I am making something like a korma, like to me a korma has to have that kind of that silky, creamy, fatty texture. So we can use coconut milk. We can also use cashew cream as well. That's a lovely option too. But this version is a lot more budget friendly. Okay. So, Christine says the other day I was frying onions and garlic, and for the first time ever I had that turquoise colour appear. Yes! Was glad that I'd heard of that happening sometimes. It's weird when that happens. It's like, did aliens just appear in my garlic and onions? Like, it looks like such a like weird psychedelic colour. Because it is like, it's really vibrant as well, isn't it? It is really vibrant. Louise says, oh, that's interesting, Christine. Do you mean like when you meditate? Do you get a turquoise colour when you meditate? Wow. That's amazing. Right, okay, so I'm just going to lower the heat because I really don't want this to boil or simmer. Whenever I make a sauce with a coconut cream, I never let it simmer because it can split. So I'm always very, very careful with it. But I'm just mixing all of those lovely spices and you know, the onion paste, etc., in with our lovely coconut milk, and then we can pop our peas into there. Now, Denise, did you find a suitable substitution for peas? I think we had a few different options for you. Okay, and now we can just pop our cauliflower and leaves into our pan, and I can hear this crispiness of those cauliflower leaves, which I think adds a really lovely texture to this dish. Right, now we can just give it a turn, just gently mixing it in, because the pan is quite full now. There we go. I'm just making sure that all of that cauliflower is covered in sauce. Cauliflower is so good at carrying sauce, because I always think of it as like little trees, and so the tops of the trees, sauce will really cling to that. and it doesn't have much of a flavour of its own, it doesn't have much of a colour on it of its own either, but that makes it such a great ingredient to play with. Those leaves, honestly, they're just showing off now. And the leaves, these leaves are actually a bit alien-like. You know, they do look very, very far out. There we go. Okay, and last but not least, we do have, oh sorry, I forgot to add some salt. So this is definitely a choose your own adventure ingredient. So, you know, you guys decide how much salt you want in your food. I'm going to give that a good mix after I've added the salt. Yep, so one of the last ingredients, which is optional, is yogurt. So here I've got some soya yogurt, but it's the Greek style one, so it's very, very thick, which is exactly what I want for this type of recipe. And I really like sour. Sour and bitter are like my favourite of the 5 tastes. So I like adding this sour element to it, but you don't have to if you don't want to. So we've got 100 ml yogurt in here. There we go. Yay. Right. And again, I'm just going to fold it in gently, and I'm being gentle, not just because the pan's quite full, but also because the cauliflower is quite soft now, and I don't want to break it up too much. And it's amazing like how quickly that cauliflower cooked in the oven. Okay, let me just see. Denise says that as a substitute for peas, so that she will try the beans. I think, do you mean the edamame or other beans? Nice colour and texture. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the thing, like the peas in this dish, like you can actually just get away with not using peas, but it is just like, you know, adding like another colour. And peas are always, they're just like a kind of like easy go-to, because they'll add this like bright green colour and they're available everywhere. But yeah, you choose your own adventure with that part of the recipe. And there we go, and that is it. That is it. So in 35 minutes, bearing in mind I did a lot of gabbing, we've made a very, very lovely dinner. There we go. By the way, for anybody who isn't in the UK, gabbing means talking, and usually talking like rubbish. Which I'm happy to do that when it's about food and when it's with you guys. Oh, Denise says that she's traumatised by peas in her childhood. Oh, that's rubbish. That's rubbish. Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of the other people in the room have had that experience with childhood, especially with dinner ladies. Again, I don't know whether that's just like a British thing or not. Dinner ladies were women who would make sure that you ate all of your lunch when you were at school. Do you have that in other countries? I'd really like to know. And they would, you know, say to you, no, you're not allowed to go out to play until you've eaten everything on that tray. And quite often, like, kids didn't want to eat it because they're like, oh, I really don't like it and it makes me sick. And then they would have it, they would eat it. And, you know, I've heard of like people who, when they were kids, they threw up on the shoes of the dinner lady. So that's a good topic for discussion on a cooking program. Okay, right. Okay, so you can serve it with rice, you can serve it with like a flat bread if you want to. That's also very, very lovely. You can serve it with other curries on the side as well. Completely up to you. Louise says it's 8 and never stop. Denise says I went to English school, so very familiar with dinner ladies. Yes, I know you were over here, but we lost you. You have to come back one day, and then you can come and do one of my classes. Right, I'm gonna have to get a much bigger spoon for this. So as I said, you know, this is 2 large portions. There we go. Yummy. Okay. Right, I'm going in. Oh, that's really hot. I'm just going to burn my mouth, aren't I? Okay. Such a lovely, such an easy, such a quick dish. Honestly, I do hope that you guys make this. Do let me know if you do make it. Please do share a picture in our private community as well. I've been really pleased to see you guys sharing in the circle community, but feel free not to just share pictures of my recipes that you make, but any recipes that you make, and we're totally happy for you to share links, you know, to other websites and stuff like that. Honestly, it is, you know, a place where you can share your knowledge. You can tell us like how the recipes went, if you made any tweaks, or you've got any recommendations for, you know, how to make sure that the recipe goes well, anything like that, then please do share it in the circle community. Okay, so Colleen says she's still working on mine. I fell behind while I was cutting up the onions. Yes, I'm sorry, I did cheat. I cheated a bit there because I did pre-chop my onions. So I think that moving forward, I will pop that in the ingredients list for you guys, so that you can do that ahead of time as well if you want to. Okay, there we go, guys. So yeah, thank you for joining me today, and have a brilliant rest of your day. I will be back here next week, same time, Saturday again at midday. So yeah, I hope to see you then.